After an accident that leaves him paraplegic, a drag racer must learn to drive again. Is it worth watching? Find out when I look at Adrenaline on this week's Indy Christian Review. The title like Adrenaline and it being about drag racing, this should be a pretty action-packed film. Ooh. An action movie with no end times themes? This should be interesting. The movie is about a young man named Joseph Jenkins.
Zero Dragons!
Yeah, probably no relation. Joseph is following in his late father's footsteps as a drag racer and is really good at it. It's pretty much his entire life. Unfortunately, he seems to prefer the illegal street racing variety. After a high-stakes race goes horribly wrong, Joseph is left barely alive and with severe damage to his nerves, leaving him paraplegic. While recovering, he meets a man named Eli. Eli is one of those guys who won't rest until everyone around him is as joyful as he is. But he certainly has his work cut out for him with Joseph, who is absolutely devastated by losing the use of his legs, and by extension the loss of his being able to race. Now for a movie called Adrenaline, the pacing is interesting. When I first watched it, I felt it was actually kind of slow. It's very talky with only brief bursts of action. When I say action, I don't mean like Fast and Furious type car stunts. I mean more like racing scenes, driving sequences, that sort of stuff. It's got a very up and down rhythm to it. Low energy talking scenes with character development and the like, followed by a brief action sequence, followed by another talking scene, another brief burst of action, and so on. But then it hit me that actually kind of mimics a lifestyle of adrenaline rush pretty well. I mean, for someone like Joseph who lives for that rush, his life is a lot like that. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I come off an adrenaline rush, I crash pretty hard. So I can see someone who's built their life around that going through a constant cycle of lows and highs. So if the pacing was done like that intentionally, it's actually kind of a brilliant move on the filmmaker's part to subtly reinforce Joseph's story. Unintentional brilliance or not, though, the movie does have some low points in other areas. The acting is generally decent, but not spectacular, though that's also due to some on-the-nose writing. John Schneider comes in just shy of halfway through the movie as an old friend of Joseph's father, but his opening dialogue as he comes in felt like a rushed exposition dump with gaps in it as well. I mean, for instance, he talks about drinking himself into oblivion and losing everything after Joseph's father died, but he then proceeds to give Joseph a tour of his garage filled with all these classic cars and parts with no explanation of how he wound up with it all. Like the acting, the cinematography is decent overall, but not spectacular. The way they color graded it, I assumed they were shooting on low-end DSLRs, and I was quite surprised to see in the credits that they actually shot it on a higher-end RED camera. Now, the story itself I really enjoyed. The progression of Joseph's character flowed really well, and there were great moments of heart and humor to punctuate the heavy drama. And it was just very fun to watch overall. So, just how worth watching is Adrenaline? I give the acting a 4. Again, decent overall. I'm going to rate the writing and story a 4 as well. The production values, I'll give a 4, but like a low 4. I mean, the overall looks not bad, but it could have been better. So overall, I'd rate Adrenaline a 4 out of 5. But again, like a low 4. I mean, 3.5 is too low. It's good. It's a good movie. It's fun, but there was room for improvement. I do still think it's worth watching, though, especially if you like cars. Now, to my knowledge, this is the only Christian movie that deals with drag racing. I mean, most Christian sports movies tend to deal with the big three, football, basketball, baseball, etc. What is a lesser represented sport that you would like to see a Christian movie be made about? If you're watching this anywhere besides IndyChristianReview.com, head over there, leave a comment, and let me know what you think. For me, I would like to see a Christian fencing movie. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and consider becoming a patron on Patreon at patreon.com/storyteller. Until next time, may God bless you, and may God bless independent Christian films.